As everyone knows, Lotus on Water sells fengshui collections and first-hand only from the earth to the carvers and direct to you. But there are many different collections, wonderful and beautiful ones in the gallery that's not for sale. And we should talk about it. And those are Master Yun's personal collections. And that's why in the first episode, as like we do in this series, which is every Tuesday at 7:30, please mark it on your schedule, put down everything, or not put down everything. Just even if you're having dinner, you should watch this as well. We have Mr. Giuseppe, the Josa. We know him from last week as Mr. Pino, to share with us, expert on all these areas, to share with us the beauty and the meaning behind all this. And I will be sharing with you Master Yun's art that comes tastefully well with all these collections. If you're on live now, do like and share. Leave your comment. You can ask us questions. You can ask Mr. Pino, Mr. Giuseppe question if you have questions for him. Actually, they have a lot of questions for you. They have a lot of questions for you. After the first episode, I saw my clients, they came to the gallery and they got very excited. All of them, no less, everyone that I saw told me about the first episode. And they said they didn't know that the chest, which is next door, the Indian dowry chest, was such a, it looks simple, it's there, it's not that simple after all. So much stories and so much culture, and 300 years old, since 18th century probably, and now they call it the chest of prosperity.
It is.
It is, right?
It is the chest of prosperity. It was meant for a dowry.
Yes.
A girl getting married,
yes,
and all the precious valuable that she collected for the dowry itself and thereafter was stored in that beautiful cabinet. Very finely.
Yeah, it's a whole chest of prosperity.
Whole chest of
and happiness, because you mentioned it's like marriage.
Absolutely.
Right. So I was telling them that you can't bring the chest away. They're using this chest for a longer period of time, when they're lighting incense and then they put their wine glasses over there. So that's the thing. Can you hear clearly? Yeah. Can you hear clearly? Yeah. Okay. So those who collect Master Yun's painting, I told them, which we showed last week, that the work in progress, those works are actually placed inside the dowry chest, the chest of happiness and the chest of prosperity. It can be there for months, it can be there for years, no one knows, until Master Yun gets the inspiration to paint again on those papers. So while all this time, in Chinese we have this thing called, soup, when we do in Chinese. I'm not sure about how does Italian do soup. It's more instant, or how does it go? Yeah.
Well, a favorite way of making it, but this day everything is instant because of little time available to couples and singles.
So Chinese have a way of doing soup that will take hours and hours. Like they have like big pots of water and then they finally distill it or reduce it until it's so much, and they call it like the old fire kind of soup. It's a bit like what they do with the painting over there, right? The chest, because for such a long time it's being kept inside, and it soaks in all the good energy. That's the great thing. But as I was saying, the friends would say quite soft, cannot hear. Can hear? Yeah. Anyway, before we go to the next thing, gotta say hi to everyone first. And if you are here, you can leave a comment so I know that you are here. Sir Yip is here. Jillian, hi Jillian. Jim is here. We have friends from new friends, Doreen. Sorry, I can't get your name correctly. Denise, Yip, Ivan Hao. Jim is here. Cynthia is watching. Yeah. Jim says the volume is a bit soft. Okay, we are working on it to check it out. So Amanda, we have friends. I think this is Spain or Brazil because it sounds Spanish. Yeah. Eileen is here. James, Jenny, good evening. Let's see whether we can get the volume up there or not. Okay, we're in a new place, so Museum in Lotus, we're going to, wherever the treasure is, we're going to go to that gallery and do it. So every single week is a new setup. But as I was saying, in the chest got a lot of attention. But a lot of the questions were also asked about you.
Here I am.
Yeah.
Ready to answer.
They were interested about you, about what you do, and all this. But last week in episode 1, we briefly mentioned that you were with the banks. Did we mention that you were with the banks for a long time?
Yes, it was briefly mentioned that I was a banker for 40 years.
Banker for 40 years?
Yes.
Would you like to, if you don't mind, would you like to share a bit of your career experience, like the whole thing, like how did it come about?
I was offered in 1970, I remember, the possibility to work for the longest bank in the world.
1970.
In 1970, I started my banking career.
Wow.
And I've, without interruption, worked for the bank for over 40 years.
I see.
And it's been my privilege and my honor to serve a bank of the caliber of Monte dei Paschi di Siena, which is the bank of the Sienese, and Siena is located in Italy.
And that's the oldest bank in the world.
In the world.
That's the oldest bank in the world.
Nobody has ever accomplished this status as the bank I worked for. So for me it was honor and privilege with great traditions. So when I was offered the opportunity to work, I grabbed that opportunity.
Yes.
And I started in the retail banking business. And I was again extremely lucky because the small branch I worked for 13 years allowed me to understand most of the retail business and the inside and outside of this particular business.
Right.
In 1990, I remember actually...
Oh, it's a very long history.
Very long history. In 1990, I was offered the possibility to join Italian International Bank to learn what happens abroad in London, so to understand all the transaction, international transaction.
Right.
And that was a good school for me to understand what was happening, which prepared me to get the posting here as Deputy General Manager in Singapore. And that was 3 years of enormous opening eye. I, first of all, did not know where Singapore was.
This is my 1990, yeah?
In 1990,
yeah.
I didn't know where Singapore was posted, but I thought there must be something absolutely fantastic about it.
If not, the oldest bank in the oldest bank in the whole world would not have a opening or would not have a branch here.
Absolutely, with all the opportunity that it offers, but mostly for our bank to understand what happens abroad and what happened and used to happen in Asia and in the Asian market.
I see.
So what a fantastic school for me. 1993, we had a subsidiary in Australia. I joined the bank, Monte dei Paschi, Australia, and I was the joint general manager. We used to have 6, 7 branches scattered all over Australia. Again, a new experience where I learned about law, where I learned about banking, where I learned about the tradition, and where I learned about the culture of Australia. And in each of these places where I was posted, I discovered the culture.
Yes.
But let me go back to one episode which I like to narrate. I remember the first salary that I got in 1970.
That was, you were already working
I was just working. I remember I was basically employed in April.
Right.
And by the end of April, I received my first salary.
Okay.
And in spite of my first salary, I ran to my father, who was quite happy to see the son being independent economically, but in that point in time...
Like, thanks, you're independent economy, thank you. Yeah.
That's it, that's finished. I'm not going to support you anymore.
What is thank you in Italian?
Grazie.
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 Yeah.
Off you go, off you go. You don't ask me for any more money. But I did ask him to lend me money. And my father couldn't understand the reason. I saw a set of silver cutlery dating the beginning of 19th century, which were produced by the Zecca of Florence. I fell completely in love. And I promised my father, you lend me this amount, which is the shortfall to buy this particular
set. So
it's
combining your own salary, but it was not enough.
Not enough.
You saw, that means in 1971, you saw this set of fork and spoons, cutlery.
Fork and spoons, cutlery, silver.
It's from Florence, so you have to study about it. That's where banking started anyway.
Yes.
That's why the oldest bank is there. And thick must be very good looking and thick, and you wanted to buy them.
Absolutely.
But as a junior officer,
I didn't have enough money.
But the passion and interest was so huge. that you went to your father to get the shop for.
Yes, and I think he was quite upset with me,
Ah.
but he did not want to disappoint me.
Oh.
So he said, son, I'm going to lend you the amount, but
Yeah.
don't come every month asking me for more money, one. Second, I expect you to return the money by the end of the second month.
The other month.
And I did pay
Okay.
him back.
Is the
So
cutlery still with you?
it is still with
Wow.
me.
Okay.
So in this journey of 40 years, not only I visited many countries, I worked in many countries, Singapore,
Right.
and then actually London to start with,
Yes.
and then Singapore, where I was the deputy general manager, then Australia as joint general manager. Then in 1997 to be precise, I came back to Singapore,
Okay.
and I became the general manager of the branch.
Wow.
So
It's a great honor to have you.
the honor,
Yes,
is,
yes.
the honor is only mine because I had a fog in front of me when I came to Singapore. I knew little about the culture of Singapore, the culture of Asia, and here it was a universe which was presented to me, and it was a fantastic way of learning. My way of learning, it's not only exclusively through books.
Right.
I need to possess something, and once I possess
Hands-on.
it, hands-on, I will go into details and I will try to find out as much as possible in order to comprehend, again, the narrative of the piece, why it was made, the culture, and in Asia you see everything.
Right.
You see it Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, and it goes up to Hong Kong, and then we have Japan, and
Yes.
all the rest of the country, Philippines, and you basically name it, and that's what I found. So I've been in Singapore now for almost 22, 23 years.
Okay.
So
wow.
what happened after I left Singapore, again, in 1990, came back in 1997 and served the bank until 2006. Then posted to India. That's the reason why I'm an avid art lover of Indian arts and Indian artifacts.
Oh, so while you were, so this to answer everyone's queries, Mr. Pino is an expert on cheers, yeah. Oh, cheers on such a long journey, huh?
Thank
and
you.
such a remarkable journey. 40 years in the same bank. There are a lot of people who cannot even last 4 months in the same company.
The bank looked after me, and I looked after the bank,
Right.
and that is the equation. As long as you put the best interest in what you do, eventually the employer will recognize your merits if there are any. And I was very lucky because the bank recognized all the energies that I put in my work, and I enjoyed
Amazing.
thoroughly. I enjoyed my work.
It's amazing. Can I get more champagne?
Oh yes, thank
Because,
you.
it's laurent-perrier champagne. Oh, careful. Yeah. Laurent-perrier champagne. You like champagne?
I adore champagne.
You love laurent-perrier champagne. Yeah, laurent-perrier,
Thank
by
you,
the
Mr.
way,
Khan.
thank you. By the way, it's the sponsor of Master's Arts.
Right.
Since the first time we had arts exhibition, and actually they have not, you know the French,
Yes.
they don't really work with a lot of people.
No.
But they don't even work. Sometimes they don't even work their own artists. So it was quite the number one and honor as well.
Yes.
That laurent-perrier is working with Master and his art. Right. So with all the banking experience, actually traveling around the entire world at the same time because of your passion and interest, hands-on. That's why we have to ask you a lot of things about the intricacies of all this of Martin's private collection. It gives you a feel that you feel like a Indiana Jones, going to everywhere, scout for treasures.
Yes.
Even including India.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So
yes,
that's something.
yes.
And the chairs that we talked about last week was from India. We have friends here who actually talked to me about you, Yvonne, Serene Su, Jenny is here. Jenny is also a collector of Master's art.
Yes.
He loves our show. Marilyn, hi. As like what our dear, wait, let me see, who is that? Yvonne, like and share, thank you very much. So if you have questions for Pino, if you have questions about the chess or other things that you've been thinking about, you can ask in the comments and we will try to get back to you. So what do we have here today? I think this piece is what we want to start with.
Yes.
Is this also from India?
This is from southern India.
Oh, okay.
And this is the tip of India facing the Indian Ocean. And the name of the state is called Kerala. And in Kerala, they speak the Malayalam, which is the language of the state. As in Maharashtra, they speak Marathi. In Tamil Nadu, they speak Tamil.
A lot of the words you saying just now, even as an Asian, I cannot pronounce, I cannot do all this. Wow, okay. So this is the one that is from the south, the tip of India.
Yes.
Kerala.
Kerala, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So what is this thing? Probably a concept. Like when is it from? What does it do?
First of all, I would say that this is made in brass.
Okay.
And as you can possibly see, there is a chain. Okay. And it's beautifully made, the chain. And imagine this would hang outside of the temple or outside of the residence of a rich family.
Oh, so they were hanging from the ceiling probably?
Hanging from the ceiling.
Right.
Okay. And then what they would beautifully do, they would pour oil around. Usually in Kerala, because they have a lot of coconut trees, it would be coconut oil.
I see.
In other states, there would be different kind of oils. And then there would be the wicks, which basically would protrude from each of this element here.
I see.
And then it would be lit. Now,
so oil and the wick.
The wick coming out.
It's like a bit like candle style. So
yes,
and the whole thing would be like a light.
It's a light. And again, it's festive. It's something that it would be used for houses or for temples, for festivals, for beautiful celebration, occasions. So when you look at a lamp like this, let me tell you, as I was analyzing it, it has a script.
This I don't think they can see. That's why you have to come here in person to see the museum in Lotus, to see what Mr. Pino, Mr. Giuseppe was pointing at. There are inscriptions actually, and those are Sanskrit.
Possibly there are Sanskrit. I regret not being able to read Sanskrit, but usually when you look at this kind of scripts, possibly it would be the name of the donor who basically gives this away to the temple. This is my best take.
I see.
So it has a value, an intimate value between the donor who possibly has received something absolutely fantastic in terms of health, in terms of wealth. And this is the donation, the recognition towards the temple.
I see. And we can see, from the chain, from this angle I can see, the chain, there are a lot of details.
A lot of
if it's just for a practical function, they don't have to go through the effort.
Absolutely.
Because it's brass.
Absolutely, this is brass.
And they don't have to keep so much details.
No, and this is solid brass. Let me tell you, what does this plate represent?
Okay.
When I look at it, it is a lotus. This is the lotus representation. And what the lotus represents.
And especially when you look at it like this.
Absolutely.
Okay.
What does it represent? When we think about the lotus, where is the lotus born? From muddy ponds.
Yeah.
And they become spiritually beautiful the moment they go up and they show that green and the colors.
Not contaminated.
Not contaminated. So in the Buddhist tradition, this is looked as a symbol of purity.
I see. And so what is the purpose? This is just for, there must be a purpose. Why did they hang this in the doors or in front of something that's important and like this wick?
Yes. The main reason was to contrapose the dark versus the light.
Oh.
That is, when we talk about Diwali or Deepavali,
yes,
which are things and festivities which are very important to the Indian people.
Yes.
Deepavali and Diwali, either it's south or it's north.
It's coming soon.
It's coming soon, the 4th of November actually.
Yeah, Deepavali is coming soon.
And when you think about it, it's about lights.
Yes. The festive of lights.
The festive of light.
Okay.
So this is a very important term, and a very important tradition for the Indians all over the country.
I see.
And we're talking about a population of over 1.3, even up to 1.4 million people.
Yes.
They believe in the lights, and actually they are together in the belief of tradition and symbols.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this is really to, so when we can guess where this is lighted, where this leads,
yes.
It's actually in the night.
Yes, it's in the night.
It's like, if you take it in a more simple dialectic sense, that there's darkness, but in darkness you have the light to conquer the darkness.
Absolutely.
And sometimes, it's actually in darkness that you find that the light is most bright.
Yes.
Because if you light it during the day, you really can't
yes.
see it. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. It's actually a little bit about mastering art, because I was briefly told about this, and every week I select one of Mastering's paintings
Yes.
to take a look at what's going on, to connect. This episode, we spent a lot of muscle to actually bring this over. This actually been on next door. It's huge. This one, some of my friends, some of my clients will be familiar. This was exhibited first in 2017 in Ion, but it's called the Galaxy of Goodness. Galaxy of Goodness. And it's too bad that we cannot see the UV effect today, this one. But we know that in the galaxy or in the space, it's actually entirely dark.
Dark.
There's no light there, yeah. But when there's a planet and it gives off light, or there's Milky Way, it gives off light, and that is the brightest thing in the entire universe. This, when it goes into darkness, we actually can see these parts glowing in the dark. We all know that Mastering's art actually has a glowing effect, especially in the dark. So it's a bit like what the light is for, in the darkness. Most people think that it's the end, there's no hope, but, like this, or like Mastering's painting, there is hope, and there's a way that you can combat all this darkness and hopelessness. That's what this does, I think.
Absolutely, I think you're right.
Yeah.
And it's a very good take.
I think we had the chance to actually relive the moment back then, but I think we're going to do it later. Friends who have been in the gallery for some time, now then they are realizing that, every single step in the Lotus on Water gallery is something that is precious. Even for this thing here, that we place this, can I call it a pillar of light? Probably, yeah?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, this pillar of light that we're placing it on. This thing, some of my clients, they'll be familiar. This is actually a black inkstone. Yep, I'm sure Pino will be familiar as well. So this is one whole piece. Again, if they can see the details, this is actually the skin carved of 9 dragons. And this also, same, it's not for sale. Also a private collection by Master Yun. I was sharing with Mr. Pino the story of this thing, because this whole black inkstone, high quality, not for sale, is 1,250 kgs, 1.25 tons. That's the whole weight. But when it was delivered to the gallery outside, somehow they mistook it as 250 kg. I don't know whether it was a disbelief that it's so heavy, or the whole, they make mistakes. They got 8 men, strong men I think, to come to carry this. It didn't budge, because if you divide the numbers, 1.25 tons can't be carried by 8 people.
No. So
they opened up and I saw that, oh my God, it's this beautiful thing, 9 dragons, okay? So we have a choice, and it was drizzling. Then we have a choice to actually either send it back to the cargo, come back in the morning, get all the weapons, get all the equipments, or you can straight away pay extra to get, what do you call it, machine, the forklift thing, to send it inside the gallery. So we say, since it's already open and since people can see it, then we should just pay extra, get the forklift and have it sent in. And once it came into the gallery, when it touched this carpet, it hasn't been moved since, because it's simply too heavy. Now, once this black inkstone touched the carpet, the rain stopped. The rain stopped, yeah. So I believed in all these things that has history, and all these things that are magnificent and grand. They have their own sets of energies going on. And that's something to really admire. Now, if you're here, you can see this pillar of light, and you can take a look at this, which is magnificent. Now, this is not for sale, but my friends will be familiar that we have others, smaller pieces that is for sale. They should be familiar with this. See, now I'm using this inkstone as to hold my wine glass. These are for sale, the smaller ones.
Amazing, very beautiful.
This is a very high grade of black inkstone, actually, very, very high grade. You don't find it in Singapore, and sometimes in Beijing at the places where they actually sell the most high-end, what we call 文房四宝, they don't even have this kind of grade. This is what we call old pit, P-I-T, 老坑. So that's the thing. This is a great piece. I have another piece there, but my friends should be very familiar with this. So, yeah. Anyway, if they have been in the gallery for long enough, they should know that there is actually another piece that looks similar, but it's much more magnificent.
Yes.
Am I right?
Absolutely right.
Shall we go and take a look?
With a lot of pleasure.
Okay, yeah. You want to bring your champagne
Yes.
glass along? Okay.
I'm not leaving it behind.
I'll let Mr. Pino take us to the place first. If you pass by the gallery enough, you will know that you would have seen this before. The unfortunate thing is that a lot of times when you pass by, you're busy your own stuff, so you didn't get to see it. Okay. Mr. Pino, can you tell us a little bit about this wonderful piece?
It's magnificent.
It's magnificent, yeah?
It's magnificent. Even over and above being beautiful, there's so much balance, there's so much beauty, which emanates in all of the aspect of this pillar lamp.
Right, right. Actually, when you were sitting here, it was actually just behind you. I'm not sure on camera whether they can capture everything or not. It's much taller. Here I am. Yeah, here I am. Okay, it's much, much taller than this. This is the one that is actually facing the... Oh, would you like to stand in a bit closer here?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, this is the one that is actually facing the main road. So if you pass by this gallery, you would definitely have seen it. They would definitely have seen it. We see the same details, like, you know, this thing over here that we said that it symbolizes the lotus.
Yes.
But we see more than one layer.
Yes.
So majestic. Can you tell us something about this thing? Like, why is this thing even created?
Okay, I mean, I'm fascinated by a piece like this.
Yes.
And the fascination comes from the bottom up to the last element, which is a lion, the
Right.
Raja.
Not sure whether they can see all the details, but they can definitely come to the gallery to see, because every single layer, as I'm seeing now, there's so much details.
So much detail.
So
but
much.
Let briefly let me
Okay.
tell you. Okay, we see the first pedestal.
Yes.
Simple. There's minimal decoration.
Okay.
The second pedestal is of leaves, foliages.
Right.
And then we have the third important layer or pedestal. And here I can identify without any doubts the lotus flower.
The lotus flower.
The lotus flower.
It's a recurring symbol, this lotus flower. So probably you can't catch it on the camera, but you can come and see it. You can come up close to see what's going on. One layer without covering, the other layer is leaves. And then we have the lotus flowers. And what does that mean actually?
Okay, when you think about the lotus, you think about purity.
Right.
You think about sensuality.
Okay.
You think about perfect balance with nature. And this is all that it means. And as you can clearly see, the second pedestal and the third pedestal, if we can call it such, have different pigments. One is red and the other one is blue.
Right.
So the red, as I mentioned, is sexuality and sensitiveness of the piece. At the same time, the blue is immeasurable and it means infinite.
Right.
This is what it means.
Okay.
And against this, you see these beautiful lotus flowers, and they go around for the fourth side of the base.
Yes.
Now, on top, what do we see? We see a turtle.
It's a turtle, huh?
This is a turtle. This is the world turtle.
Okay.
My reading, when I look at a piece like this, is look at the strength, look how, without any issue, the turtle is able to carry the entire world.
Right.
And how heavy this is.
This is actually part of the cosmology of Hinduism.
Absolutely.
That every culture has its own cosmology of how things are created.
Yes.
How the universe is created, and for them, it's called the world turtle. That means that the whole world is burdened or is carried upon the turtle's back.
Yes. But she carries, or it carries the entire world effortlessly. You don't see any strain in any of the parts. Now, let's look at all the work that is at the top.
Right.
Beautiful chiseled. And then when I turn around, I see an inscript.
Again, an inscription.
Again, an inscription.
Probably Sanskrit.
Sanskrit, possibly.
Probably Sanskrit.
And
yeah.
this would either be the donor, as I mentioned earlier, to the temple, or it can be the name of the artist, or can be also the name of the temple it was donated to.
Right.
Now,
right.
one thing I did not mention, which I would like when you come and take a closer look,
yes.
in spite of this beautiful inscript, there's another inscription
At
on
the
the
back.
back.
Yeah.
And again, this needs to be read by appropriate scholars who can tell us more about the pillar lamp.
Okay. Okay. So we have, even just for the first few layers, there's a lot of details going on. There's a lot of complexity going on.
A lot of complexity.
And above the turtle tortoise,
there's another pillar, as you can see.
They are starting to see it now because on the camera, that's how much I can capture. It's so big, the camera can't capture everything. So we have another layer here.
We do have another layer, another pillar.
Okay.
And then the pillar again is basically blue.
Yes.
Reminiscent of the sky. And here we have five serpents. The 5 serpents
right.
are possibly serpents protective of the nature.
Right.
Okay, they are cobras. Okay, and they also have a refined. They've been refinedly sculpted. Now, these are considered semi-gods. Semi-gods. They belong to the god of sun. They are never killed because there's a perfect balance between nature and the cobras, the serpent. They treasure ancestral belongings underneath the earth. They actually do not disturb the vegetation, and therefore medicinal herbs would be actually taken and utilized for people who are sick. But what else do they venerate about these serpents? Whenever there's a trouble in the family, whenever there's not enough rain, whenever there's not enough crops, then the people would just pray to the gods, which are the cobras. Beautiful meaning. And again, this gives me the balance that exists between nature, animals, and human beings, and the respect that is accorded to these animals.
Are they considered nagas?
These are nagas.
Oh, these are nagas.
These
okay.
are the turtle would be called the kurma.
We have the turtle, which is the kurma.
Kurma, K-U-R-M-A.
Okay.
Kurma.
And then we have
And
the
then we
5
have the
cobras,
naga.
which are the nagas.
The nagas.
Okay, and,
yes,
and we are not even halfway through the tower. We are not even 1/3 through the tower.
Not at all. Not
and
at all.
we have the world turtle, we have the protectors and the demigods, and then we have this trace and the layers.
Right.
Because on that one, we only saw 1 layer.
Yes. And this instead has 7. Let me tell you something else that comes up to my mind with reference to the kurma.
Okay.
The kurma is the avatar of Vishnu. What does that mean? Vishnu used to be seen in a number of animals or other forms. One of the most important representation would be the turtle. And again, you see steadiness. First of all, let's have a thought. What does Vishnu mean? Vishnu is the Trimurti, together with Brahma and together with Shiva.
I see.
What does Vishnu represent? He is the protector of the universe.
I see.
And he transforms and changes the universe when this is necessary. All attributed to the turtle. So how important is this? And when you look again, I'm fascinated by seeing this turtle holding 7 layers of heavy brass.
7 layers. So what we saw just now, there was one. This majestic piece.
Majestic.
I'm not sure whether you're in the gallery, have you passed by or you might have missed it somehow, but this is 7 layers.
7 layers.
From big to the smallest.
Absolutely. And people actually should come and should take a look and really understand themselves and appreciate themselves, the beauty, the balance, the elegance of this particular pillar light. But in this contest of art, really smelling at any level with master hewn paintings that become even better than what they actually are. Now, I mentioned earlier, what does this plate represent? This plate represents, again, the lotus, a recollection to purity. Then, at the top of this 7 layers, and these were filled with oil, and then we would have in each of this portion, would have a wick, and they would all be lit. Imagine what people used to see. They used to see the pillar of light all lit. And can you imagine the atmosphere that it would create? And this is either for celebration or for ritual. Which means happiness.
We can imagine that this whole thing, oil and wick, lighted.
Yes.
It must be the sight, the sight of it. It's definitely magnificent.
Magnificent, magnificent. There are 2 things I would like to reiterate before I comment on the 7 layers. Let's go back just for 1 second to the serpents. What did the serpent represent? They represent, through the deity, 5 things.
Right.
Air, fire, water, and they will also represent the space and earth.
Okay.
So this is for the cosmology of Hindu people.
Right.
So very deep, significant. And when we look at this lamp, there are layers, layers, layers of important information that they provide us. I just think about whoever designed and whoever made this beautiful piece, and then the temple that housed possibly this wonderful lamp. But mostly what I appreciate, and it comes straight to my heart, the lights. And people smiling, people being happy. There was reason to celebrate. There was reason why this lamp was illuminated.
I see. I see. We can imagine what a sight it would be when it's actually fully lighted up.
Yes.
That is only one tray. We're going to see it later. But this 7 layers, we're not going to do this here today because of all the reasons. But we can imagine back in the time about what might be the age of a piece like this. This piece.
Definitely, I would say 19th century, if not earlier than that, in my modest opinion.
That means it's about 200 years.
200 years?
200 or 300 years.
Yes, yes,
200 or 300 years ago, we have something like this majestic, probably a centerpiece, whole thing lit up is amazing. And on the top, there's something else.
On the top, we see the Raja. We see the lion. What does the lion represent?
And this you have to come here to see, because it's too long, it's too big, you can't see it in one camera shot. There's a lion that looks solid and well crafted up there at the top. They're standing on the top of these 7 layers.
And it represents courage. It represents pride. It represents steadiness. It represents the identity of the Indians, where peace is the most important aspect of the living together. And this is the symbol of India, the Raja.
Wow. Wow. Okay. This whole piece now, this whole pillar of light, 7 layers, is now in the what we used to call the Sandalwood and Argyle Gallery. We renamed it. It's called the Direct and Indirect Wealth Gallery.
Yes.
And we actually pushed it up even further. It's off the ground. It's on this throne that we have here. This is
beautiful.
This is not an antique. This is not an antique. But this was actually brought to Master Yuen's first art exhibition.
Yes.
In 2017 in Ion.
Yes.
Because at the time, the first exhibition, the guest of honor was Prince Sisawat Teso, His Royal Highness from Cambodia.
Yes.
So we got this throne over there, and that was his seat. Now, on this is this majestic pillar of light.
Pillar of light.
I want to ask Mr. Giuseppe, Mr. Pino, one thing.
Yes.
Because of all the whole experience that you mentioned, all the expertise that you gained over the years, for you, an expert, a collector, what does this piece mean for you?
Fantastic. And not an easy question that you're raising, but let me tell you, I go with my heart.
Okay.
There's so much going on here. The world of animals, and we've seen 3. We also see the world of nature, and basically the respect of people towards nature, again, towards the lotus. And I see such a beautiful ecosystem working together. In other words, we see people. I can imagine people, happy people. I can imagine, again, as I mentioned, animals. I can imagine the flora, all coming together beautifully, balanced, peacefully, so aesthetically important. When I look at, again, I like to imagine, and I think I'm right, that this is almost like a sculpture. And that's the reason why it fits perfectly within the context of art. As I said before, and I repeat myself, each of the elements that I see here and the object breathe elegance, breathe culture, breathe tradition, breathe beauty. That's the reason everything blends together.
It's amazing.
Please come, take a look, spend an hour or more. Just get into this piece with your own heart.
Yes.
Everybody has inside the sense of art and artistic elements. We just need to brush them and feel them. And this is a wonderful piece which I encourage everybody to come to see together with the majestic collection of Master Yuen.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. It's Pino is making his way back here. You know, friends actually are paying attention to what's going on over here. We have Eileen, we have Jewel, we have Geraldine who have liked and shared, Yvonne as well. You know, saying good evening, Mr. Khan and Mr. Pino. Huh?
Thank you.
Mr. Pino is what we know him by, as we explained just now, is Giuseppe de Giosa and Mr. Pino. Actually, how did these 2 words come along? The Pino doesn't exist in Giuseppe de Giosa.
Okay, the Christian name is basically Joseph, which in Italian is Giuseppe, ma I'm Italian.
Oh.
Okay, but small children, the name is always transformed into small Giuseppe. And small Giuseppe is Giuseppino. Therefore, in order to simplify, the last 4 letters, Pino, is the known name that I've had since I was a child.
But that means Pino, it just means small.
Means what?
Small? Does it mean
small?
Giuseppe
Absolutely.
Pino, yeah.
Like, for instance, a teacup is called cucchiaio, and the small spoon is cucchiaino. So anything that finishes with ino, Pino, would mean small.
It's the ino.
Yes.
It's this ino that means small.
Correct.
But because it's Giuseppe,
Yes.
and it ends with P-I-N-O.
Correct.
So it got shortened into this.
Into Pino. And I feel very familiar. If people call me Giuseppe, I'm uncertain. But of course, when I have to sign document, and when I had to sign documents for the bank, it would be my Christian name, Giuseppe.
The more we know, yeah. I think in our shows, we, other than laurent-perrier champagne, French champagne, right? May I get you some more?
Oh, thank you so much.
So I enjoy these shows, while we learn about all this, of different cultures and faiths, like we learn about the big tower over there, and we get to enjoy laurent-perrier champagne at the same time.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure you, when you're sitting at home, enjoying all this, you get a lot of knowledge from this. I saw someone leave a comment about Vishnu just now. Let me see what this friend said. Jenny is following us closely. Jenny says, very interesting description of the Tower of Lights and all the narrations of Vishnu and the forms of transformation through animals by Mr. Pino. A worthy piece to view over and over again. It's true.
Absolutely.
As what Mr. Pino was saying, you should come and see. Now while you're in the gallery, all this stuff, then there are actually a lot of pieces that are worthy of us to contemplate, to appreciate them again and again. Am I right? Yeah. Ashley is here. Hello, like and share too. Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Pino and Mr. Khan. Yeah. Jenny is here. Yes, Jenny said, art can be appreciated and nurtured over time with a willing and passionate heart. Can't say it better myself. Yeah, that's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. In Lotus on Water, what we do is to improve the lives of people. More prosperity, more elegance. At the same time, I think through this show, because we also improve the cultural aspects and the taste of many ones who are actually watching. Right? So, Betsy is here. Good evening. Okay. We talked about that large tower. We talked about this smaller tower as well. And this, in the past, is supposed to pour the oil on it and light it. And just like Master's painting, in darkness, you find hope.
Yes.
In darkness, you can see the UV effect, which glows in the dark. This, you have to come and see it yourself. It's called the Galaxy of Goodness. A lot of people are using this as a backdrop in their handphone because it looks so good, this painting. But we want to relieve the moment when they... Do you think it's possible?
I think yes, we can do it. Yes, with pleasure.
Okay, we got all the stuff ready to try and test. Okay, so we have
the oil.
Okay, so by right, this piece was supposed to be hang up all the way. We're not going to do that. Oil is supposed to be on it. And that actually floats the wick, is that right?
Absolutely, floats the...
Oh! It has to be filled to the... So it will be filled to the brim then?
Just a little bit more and we're done with.
Okay. Okay. So this is what it does, the oil?
Yes.
Okay. You got to pay attention to this, because we are going to say something special about this light tower. Because this Sunday... This is the wick. This Sunday is Guan Ying's birthday, 24th of October. This Sunday. And since this is something that's so sacred, this is something that is amazing and wonderful, is to chase away the darkness and to invite light. We are going to definitely use this, and for you to use it as well on this Sunday, 24th of October. So you got to pay attention to this and spread the good word. Let's see. What did Ashley say? Oh my God. Yeah. So what Mr. Pino is doing now is that, he's oiling up the wicks.
The wick?
He's oiling up the wicks. So we're going to see how it looks like, Maybe just a few, how it looks like. I see. Wow. Okay.
Should we start? Should we finish or should we?
I don't know. You are the expert. I can't. Up to you. Yeah. Do we have to finish? We don't have to finish, right?
We don't need to finish.
We don't have to.
Yeah. I will just show you half so that your imagination can go, and you can also see what it would be like if all the wicks are lit.
I'm sure it's definitely very magnificent. Eileen says, wow. Ashley says, OMG. We haven't even started yet. Ashley says that, is Mr. Pino going to lead all up? I think probably just a bit, Yeah. Just a bit representation.
I don't want
to
be...
tissue? Yeah.
Yes, if there is some tissues.
I think we need some tissue there, yeah. Just a bit. We're going to... But as I said, pay attention to this, because this is not the only piece here. If you've been paying attention, actually behind Mr. Pino, we have the second Guan Yin of Lotus on Water in this gallery. And we know that this Sunday, 24th of October, it is Guan Ying's birthday. So
Right.
we're going to use this significantly. Let me pass it to him. It's okay. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Khan.
Yeah, don't mention. Yes. I'm glad to be part of this. Okay. Okay. We're going to do it.
Yes.
Oh, wait, let me. Yeah. I think. Yeah, there is. Like this.
Yes.
Just like this.
Absolutely. Done.
Oh. Okay, okay. Probably have to put it upright. Yeah. Oh, careful. Ah. Ooh. And it goes on.
And it goes on.
Oh, now we can imagine when the whole thing is lit up.
That's the reason you have the plate here
Ah, okay.
to basically.
Smart, huh? They have considered all this when they are doing this. Wow. Look at that.
Magnificent. Imagine with no light.
You have no light and the whole thing goes around, the whole lotus, it's on fire. It's not lotus on water, it's lotus on fire. This is. Oh, it looks amazing. It looks really amazing. It is ready to chase away darkness and to show you that in darkness there is hope and there are possibilities.
There's always hope.
The whole concept is really like Masterin's art, as I was saying, that you know, in darkness you can see another picture. Oh, here in bright we see a peacock and a gold and silver, but we know that when the lights goes off and the UV light comes on, it's another image. It's a galaxy of stars. And sometimes it's in darkness that we actually see that the possibilities that are with us are immense. Do you need more of this? This is amazing, yeah. This is amazing.
Thank you so
See,
much.
all my clients are saying that, wow, Laura is saying this is amazing. Eileen is saying that this is amazing and beautiful. This is amazing. When you come on Sunday, you might not be able to see this. We're not going to light it on Sunday. It's a bit too dangerous. Huh? But we can imagine, use a bit of imagination how it goes like. And imagine if the whole thing is on fire. This is really something.
And this will last for many, many hours.
Is that right?
Many hours. But again, what I like to reiterate is a point, the happiness that surrounded this piece.
I see.
How people felt good, how people recognized the beauty of what was happening. And again, it's all against the dark.
I see.
I can't stop watching it. I can't stop looking at it.
It gets more serene after a while, huh?
It's serene. You see, it started with tall flames, and as soon as a balance is created, they all are more or less of the same size.
I see. This is really something. Ashley says she feels peace and calmness, and she says that chase away the darkness that's in the deepest part of our souls.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Well said.
It's amazing. So this piece, actually we have another smaller piece.
Yes.
That is actually there. We are not going to move it that much. Now, we purposely placed it there because it's in front of the, as I was saying, the second Lotus Guan, the one in white jade.
Yes.
Clients of mine, they will be definitely very familiar with the second piece, second Guan Yin. Now these two light towers, these two pillars of light, on Sunday, we're going to place it right in front of Guan Yin, right in front of this sculpture. And you know, they will definitely be here. So what you can do is that to gain the extra blessing, to gain the extra prosperity on that very day, you know, your rings, they're beautiful rings. You can put it, we won't be lighting it up, but you can actually put it on the tray, like this. And put it for a while you're going to admire the bigger pillar of light. And for that whole hour, you can put it there. Take it as like a recharge. Take it as like a connection to this amazing and beautiful piece. Like this too.
Ah! Wonderful exchange of energies.
Yes. Yes.
I'm fascinated by these lights. They've all come down. They're in their own world.
It looks very good on camera.
representing what happened decades and decades ago.
Yes.
They've become alive once again.
Yes. So, it's beautiful. Is it just how it looks on camera is beautiful?
Amazing.
Imagine if you have the time. If we have the time to actually do the whole thing, it will be amazing. So on Sunday, which is once again Guan Ying's birthday, and tomorrow is the 15th lunar month.
Yes.
We might be placing it here, but for sure, this Sunday, which is Guan Ying's birthday, we're going to put this here in this gallery, and you can place your Lotus collections, especially your rings, on this too, and chase away the darkness and invite the happiness.
And again, look at the big pillar lamp.
Yes.
Really, I would say a museum piece.
Yeah, come and appreciate them. Okay, and for friends who are asking me, they were asking me about the two bells from last week.
Yes.
By bells, chimes, bells, are they called bells or chimes?
Bells, I would call them bells.
Yeah, there's one with Ganesha.
Ganesha?
It's on top.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have, we're going to hang it. We're going to find a way to hang it
Yes.
above the Indian dowry chest.
Yes.
So when you light the incense, then you can
Strike it.
strike it gently. Yeah, it's extra value and blessing that we have. It's amazing. Jenny says that it's magical and enchanting. So you got to come and experience all this yourself, and come here on Sunday to place your Lotus rings on this beautiful and significant and also 19th century.
I would say 19th century, yes.
200-300 years, you know, and come and experience it yourself. Amazing. Thank you, Mr. Pino.
Fascinated by the lights. Really
Fascinated, yeah.
fascinated.
Fascinated.
Mesmerizing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Khan, for having me again.
Thank you. So once again, tomorrow, 15th lunar month, instead of tomorrow, we're open today, and on Sunday, definitely, is Guan Ying's birthday. It's a great day for you to come here, as what Mr. Pino has said, to admire the tall pillar of light. These two smaller ones will be placed right here in what we call 0103, the direct and indirect wealth gallery in front of the second Guan Yin, when you can place your Lotus rings on it for a re-blessing. See you in the gallery.
See you in the gallery.